Both in our 40s. I think premature is a thing.
100%. I think that's going to be the opening line for the live is what you just said. Ah,
Here, preventative nerds, like most things, we're premature.
we're
Eh,
premature.
yes, yes, yes.
Well,
Prema-
welcome to the
premature preventing.
pandemic. This is a Facebook and YouTube live podcast show that celebrates all the things that we feel are awesome. It helps us spreading our fandom to you. After the live show airs, you can find the show on Spotify, Apple, and anywhere you get your audio podcast. Every show, we dive deep into the hearts of fandoms and celebrate the things we love. From sci fi to fantasy, movies to TV shows, comics to video games, we explore the universes that have captured our imaginations and made us lifelong fans. Each week, we'll take you on a journey through the realms of awesomeness. Expect passionate discussions, in depth analyses, things under the bed, and many side quests. So whether you're a die-hard enthusiast or just dipping your toes in the fandom waters, the Fandemic is the place to be. I'm your host, the self-proclaimed Emperor of Awesome, Bradley Butin, and with me every week, I have the unverified twin of Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the eyebrows, the unverified twin of Dave Batista in the head wrinkles, and the unverified twin of one Shamar Moore in the nipples. Welcome to the Fandemic. Who am I talking to?
My name is Brian S. Dennis, and this week the S stands for Chicago, and more on that in a minute.
Yeah, best in the freaking world, man.
You know what? If you're gonna be a member of a cult, it should be a cult of personality.
Dude, Living Color should have done so much more.
Seriously. So I mean, because you and I are both were around when kind of they had like the little rap rock hybrid groups like Limp Bizkit, Korn, and they were kind of around them. And don't get me wrong, I may have been guilty of being a Limp Bizkit fan for about 4 days. But none of them really compared to the originators in Living Color. I mean, they just were. I mean, that group as a whole, obviously, cult personality. And those of you that are fans of the wrestling that we talk about, you probably know what we're talking about. But yeah, you're exactly right. Of the bands that I really thought would have been bigger, I was really surprised that they, especially when the Limp Bizkits, when the Korns, Blink 182s, a lot of those groups came together, like they didn't have a resurgence, unfortunately. But you're right. I always love me some In Living Color, both the band and the show.
Yes. And but you know what? I think that they're making all the money they need off of that one song.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I mean, the amount of streams and downloads, plus I'm sure they got a hefty licensing fee both from the WWE and AEW when it came to that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so again, Punk was so smart doing it the way he did it, man.
Yeah, and when we run down the card here in a minute, it actually talks about something that I think we'll start seeing more and more in wrestling. But before we get to that, let's talk about our highlights of the week, sir. You want to go first?
I would love to go first. All right, so I haven't watched Bass Reeves yet, so I can't put that on there. But my show of the week is one of your favorite shows. I'm not sure that you knew that this came back. Doctor Who.
Actually, yes, it was suggested to me. Hey, no. For those of you that are new to the podcast, Bradley and I agree on 99% of things that we are fans of, and some things he likes a little more than I do. I like a little more than he do. And we also generally don't dislike things, but we both agree that Andor sucks. However, that should almost be the tagline for the show: Andor sucks.
Yeah,
but of the one thing that he's a big fan of that I cannot stand is Doctor Who. I have tried hard. I have quite a few friends that are Whosians. A good friend of mine, actually, her license plate is TARDIS.
I've seen them. I've seen that car.
However, no, I just can't. Just cannot do it. I just cannot. I've tried with various incarnations of the Doctor. No.
Yeah, it's timey-wimey. So, with that being said, I went to not one, not two, but 3 movies over the Thanksgiving weekend.
And if you are in your 40s, getting anything, doing 3 rounds of anything in a weekend,
Yeah.
is tough.
Yeah. 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 Ask my wife.
Wasn't gonna go there.
I well, yeah.
Yeah, I totally spoon fed that one, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the first movie I saw this week was Wish, Disney's Wish,
Okay.
and it was god awful.
It looks
was
sweet from the trailer, which means it's probably gonna be god awful in the theater. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is such a generic movie that was so. It had a couple of good things, but when you're going to a Disney movie with an 11 and 14-year-old girls, and they're like, oh, every 5 minutes, I'm like, hey, Leia, this is gonna happen, and then it happens. It was like, man. So Chris Pine, it didn't work. He didn't work in it. The Asha, the main characters,
Sure.
worked. It was just written horribly. This Disney movie felt like it was done completely by AI. And it was like the person plugging it in is like, I wanted a little bit like Frozen. I wanted a little bit like Moana. I want it to be called Wish because this is 100 years of Disney. And here's the thing, Brian, you and I could pitch a better Disney movie to celebrate 100 years of Disney animation in probably about 5 minutes. As a matter of fact, I did it with the kids after the movie.
Okay.
I'm like, here's what Wish should have been. The star, keep it. Asha, keep it. She's got a good voice, great character. She wishes so whatever happens, Chris Pine's character is he's this evil sorcerer type guy.
Yeah.
His magic is ruining the entire Disney universe. She's got to go get the help of all the other princesses because she needs that much. Like there was some calls to, especially like Dopey and Peter Pan, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was so stupid. You know what? I'm gonna have to give Disney a shame on you.
So basically, what you're saying is they took all the good parts of the Kingdom Hearts video game series and stripped them away, and that made Wish. Gotcha.
Yeah, okay. It was. Gosh, man. And so working at the theater, so the younger kids loved it. So like the younger kids.
It looks like it was pitched probably for like elementary school kids. Like that's the audience.
Right. But the older they got, I mean, like seriously, like when I'm like, hey, how was the movie? The little girls are like, yay, and mom and dad are like, oh, crap. So
hopefully
that's
it was at least short. Hopefully it's for that age bracket. At least it was like an hour and a half at the most.
Yep, which is the right amount of time.
Yep.
So there's my thoughts on Wish, but then I have to get to Trolls. Trolls is good. It's you know what it is when you go into it, and there's something about those types of movies that you gotta enjoy. It
didn't make you want to go bye.
Maybe a few times, but in a different way. Anyway. Yeah.
Was the singing in sync?
It was all 98 degrees of it.
Wow.
Yeah. You knew exactly what you're going to get when you go to this movie. However, those two movies lead me into my movie of the week. My movie of the week, especially because Thanksgiving was this week.
I was curious what your review's going to be. Okay.
Was Thanksgiving. This is a movie based on a fake trailer from 2018 or 2019. And it's another movie that did not take itself seriously. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. Brian, as I'm watching the movie, I was wishing that you were there because you and I get these types of jokes way more than everybody else that I know.
Well, one of my favorite quote-unquote horror movies is Happy Death Day because it totally doesn't take itself seriously. It kicks around a lot of the tropes. It kind of wink, nudge. I mean, it's like 2 steps away from being a mockumentary or a satirical film.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. So those movies they don't take them quite as seriously as Scream, but still enough for you to really enjoy them. And this is I mean, part of the fun of going to some horror movies is the laughter of the ludicrousness of it, right? So
Exactly.
if it plays that in a good way, that's excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you got for me, man? What made your list of the week?
All right. Well, my primary thing I'm gonna make a list of, we're gonna unpack a little bit. So I'll just give you a couple things that I actually binged the past few days. By the way, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Yes, you do.
So my show of the week is gonna be Invincible. Bass Reeves, I know you haven't watched it yet. I thought it was a really good episode, but this week's episode of Invincible, just because. And have you seen Invincible this week?
I have not. I totally
Okay.
forgot it. But
This
go ahead,
week's
you can spoil it.
episode, not to spoil it, just say this week's episode kind of goes back to like the first and second episodes of the first season. It definitely amps up the violence, but for a purpose. And we get, I'll just say this, the majority of the episode is a Viltrumites plural SmackDown fight. So you got to see several Viltrumites fighting, and that was kind of cool. All right,
that is awesome. And I'm working on my mustache for my Viltrumite.
You're getting there. You're getting there. You're getting there. And we just saw development of some additional. We see character development for people like Atomic Eve and those secondary characters in it. It was excellent, and Bass Reeves was really, really good. But before we get to kind of what we're going to mainly unpack, is I just want to share that I have spent the last day or so binging the show From. From.
Yes, so tell me about that.
I text you about this. So first off, From is like the best way that I can describe it is if they made Erie, Indiana for adults and made it truthfully rated M for mature. So the general premise of it, without any spoiler alerts, is first off, the show stars Harold Perrineau, who, if you know Oz, he was the narrator for the first several seasons of Oz, the gentleman in the wheelchair. So he plays the sheriff of an unnamed town. And in this town, people basically just show up. It's a town where you don't intend to go there. You just wind up there and you can't leave. And then at night, literally monsters come out. So during the day, it is the townspeople trying to live some type of normal life. At night, they have to deal with the monsters and all the precautions to live through the night, as well as kind of like what Lost would have been if they made it more horror. Every few episodes, new people arrive and them having to explain what's going on with very limited knowledge of it themselves. It's done extremely well. It's on MGM Plus. It is 2 seasons. I think the third is coming out soon. It is the acting is fantastic. It definitely is not a show for kids. It's got a lot of violence, a lot of gore, some authentic jump scares, but also has that undercurrent of an X-Files Lost of really what is the truth, what is happening, including they even jump to it. Are we sure we're still alive? That's one of the first things they even bring up to themselves in the show. Definitely has a lot of people processing what does this mean about faith, life, death, existence, all these things. Just a fantastic show. Again, and for those of you, if you don't already subscribe to MGM, this is not a plug, obviously. I was telling you, you can, if you have Prime, for like another $6 a month, you can get it on there. And MGM has tons of great movies and shows, but From is just fantastic. So if you ever decide to watch it, bro, we'll definitely have to pre-binge a little bit on the show.
That sounds awesome. It almost sounds a little bit like Dark City if Dark City was a series. Which a Dark City series would be freaking amazing.
Yes.
And you got to get Rufus Sewell in some way.
Yes.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yes. So, and I didn't look up any of the source material. I think it was just an idea. So, okay, I don't think they used it from a game or a book, but it totally almost feels in a good way like if a Dark City, like if a Resident Evil, something like that, a Silent Hill is probably the best way. If Silent Hill was done really, really well as a series, that's a lot of how From feels.
Nice. Well, dude, I'm sold on it.
All right.
I'm gonna
All
I'm
right.
gonna go talk my wife into MGM Plus. We did just put the axe to AMC Plus
Hmm.
because like I tried to get into Dead City and I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the Daryl Dixon, I tried and I didn't. The only thing that I actually got all the way through was Owen Wilson's Paint, where he plays this Bob Ross type character,
Oh, okay.
and
Okay.
it was dark humor, funny. I liked it. I mean, I could almost sense Kaylee's eyes rolling almost all the time. But yeah,
Gotcha, my friend. All right. And then the most recent episode of Found's losing me a little bit. I think
mm-hmm.
they're rushing things a little bit on Found. I think they could be stretching things out a little bit. The Irrational is on hiatus right now. I think they said it'll be back shortly at the beginning of 2024. And again, the most recent episode of Bass Reeves. So beyond that, the big thing that I watched is we can still a little time to talk about it is you and I both were texting, as you know, Bradley and I are both big fans of professional wrestling. So last night was I think I heard the commentator said, I believe Michael Cole said the 37th edition of the second longest running pay-per-view in the WWE, Survivor Series War Games.
Yeah.
The only thing that could make War Games better for me would be if they had really had Matthew Broderick show up with playing video games. They maybe could have had him in the back with the New Day.
Oh, dude, that would have been
would
such
have
a
been
cool
great.
promo.
Yeah, like seriously, like how? I mean, there's no one our age probably other than Triple H on the credit thing. I was like, who's Matthew Broderick? Like, yeah.
Oh
But
man, that would
maybe one day, maybe one. Hey, WWE, if you're listening, you have that one for free. Yeah, we know you are. You got that one for free.
Nice, that's awesome. All right, man. We'll get into War Games here in a moment. Why don't you got an honest ad?
I do
for us. What do you got?
Okay, here's my honest ad, and this follows obviously, and I hope everyone that's in our listening audience had a happy and safe Thanksgiving. But here is my honest ad. Fresh out of the fridge or straight from the oven, this holiday treat deserves no loving. Orange, dry, flavorless, and bland, this crusty abomination is a pox upon the land. Store-bought, homemade, even mail order. If you enjoy this, your life should be shorter. No matter the slice, no matter the topping, this does not belong in your Thanksgiving shopping. At the end of the day, regardless of how hard you try, there's absolutely nothing worse than pumpkin pie.
I knew it. I knew it, man. I knew where you're going, man. I have still yet to try sweet potato pie.
Oh, bro.
I know we kept on talking. We were gonna barbecue or hang out this last summer, and we never got around to it. But yeah.
Pumpkin pie is amazing. You just got to if you want to get a store-bought one, I think I might have said this before, Pat LaBelle has a store-bought one that I think is really, really good. Mm-hmm. They are really, and again, coming from the South, for those of you that aren't aware, I'm a Georgia transplant. So growing up, pumpkin pie was not pumpkin isn't a thing really in the South, at least not in the Southeast where I'm from. So, like pumpkin spice latte and all those things isn't a real thing. And at the holidays, we have sweet potato pie, not pumpkin pie. And one of the cardinal sins for those that are true Southerners is if people come, and I know you're a veteran, again, I always thank you for your service, but we would occasionally have people that were new to the area because they were in the military or had moved, and they would mistakenly because you look at a pumpkin and sweet potato pie side by side, they really do look very similar.
They do.
So we would sometimes have people call a sweet potato pie a pumpkin pie, and that's when you get the Southern expression of "oh, bless your heart," which means you're an idiot.
Yeah.
For those of you that again are not from the South, if you've ever been around anyone, especially a true Southerner, and no matter how, especially from like an older Southern woman who's got like a really sweet smile and just looks like she wants to just pinch your cheeks and give you a hug and make you a plate of food, all of that is true. But if she also go, "oh, Bless your heart. She thinks you are dumb as a box of rocks. Okay. So we will get that. And then I would typically hear my mom and my grandmother go, oh, bless their heart. And I would just snicker like, nah, bruh, sweet potato pie. So, and by the way, if you ever had a sweet potato pie, you would never want pumpkin pie again. So that was my honest ad. I think the only thing that I dislike more at the holidays than candy corn is pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
Because pumpkin pie is more prevalent. Like,
Yeah.
it literally goes in my order of hate. Number 3, pumpkin spice latte. Number 2, candy corn. Because those two are really kind of time limited at the very beginning of fall and then Halloween, right? But then you get pumpkin pie that you get almost the minute it gets cool, especially for Thanksgiving and Christmas. For those that celebrate, it becomes like, oh, and again, as a Southerner, no. It's really. So here's the deal. Before we get to our other thing, pumpkin pie is AEW, sweet potato pie is the WWE, and there we go.
All right, well, that was such a great segue. So let's go ahead and get right into it, man. All right. WWE War Games, man. It happened last night. We talked about it. We teased it a little bit.
Yes.
Well, let's go ahead and what are your thoughts? I really didn't care for several of the matches. I thought were just okay until the end.
Yes.
So I don't think we need to go over every.
No, we'll just hit over a couple of ones that I think we both probably agreed on. So the women's War Games match, it happened.
Yep.
There was, I mean, it gave it. I mean, and I understand why. And I think I said this when we've done these reviews before. We don't review every pay per view, but a couple of the major ones we talk a little bit about. Mm-hmm. I understand that there should be equity and parity between the men's division and women's division. Sometimes, though, it feels like having the same match twice kind of dilutes it a little bit. So having a women's War Games match, there's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't have the same level of intensity that the men's War Games match happened. Mm. And we'll talk more about that. But if anyone hasn't seen the paper and cares, and again, spoiler alerts, the team that was the team of Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Shotzi, who I just can't wrap my head around, and Bianca Belair, they won. The big thing that is setting up is that we'll probably see where Damage Control is going to kick Bayley out at some point, which is fine. I like Bayley as a baby face, but it really didn't do anything. The other match I really was there. I mean, I think it would have been fine to have more time, but Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar.
Yeah. Well, and that one was supposed to be against Carlito.
Yeah.
But he got hurt. So I actually thought that Dragon Lee was superior in that match.
Oh, he really was. For a lot of different reasons. Santos and really, if you aren't a follower of NXT, you didn't get to see Santos Escobar when he was a full blown heel. He is really good as a heel. I was so glad when we got what we got, because him being a quote unquote good guy or a baby face doesn't fit his personality. So Rey Mysterio is legitimately out with having knee surgery, going to be out for a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to get Santos versus, I'm assuming Carlito a little bit, eventually getting to Santos versus Rey. They've had this issue before, and I understand the WWE has a huge Latin population, and Rey Mysterio connects with that, but they've tried having the next Rey Mysterio a few different times. I don't know if you remember Alberto Del Rio. They tried him being the next Rey. They tried it with Kalisto. He was going to be the next Rey, and now they're trying it with Dragon Lee. There's one Rey Mysterio. There's nothing wrong with Dragon Lee. I think he's a fine wrestler. They don't really have a cruiserweight division like they used to anymore. So I'm curious of how he'll stand up long term. But we do have that. The guy's really cool to watch in the ring.
Yeah.
But again, he's not Rey Mysterio because there is only one Rey Mysterio.
And, man, I mean, especially in recent WWE, my favorite high flyer, and he's probably in my top 2 or 3 wrestlers right now in the WWE is Ricochet.
Oh, Ricochet's fantastic.
I freak out every time he's on. I mean,
Ricochet is fantastic.
He's just so good. He is so good. And I don't think like there's very, very few that can reach that level of Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
Oh gosh, who's another big one?
Break your neck while doing it, by the way.
Right?
Yeah.
And
so again, my guess will probably we'll see Dragon Lee around for a little bit. I hate that. I hate to be sizes. I think Dragon Lee would be better once they maybe form a tag team with him and someone else at some point. But again, it wasn't a bad match. And then because I know you just love this guy, I got to bring him up. The Intercontinental title match, the Miz, versus Gunther.
God,
share the audience how much you love Gunther.
I absolutely freaking can't stand him. I don't get it. And so and you've explained this to me last time we were talking about him, and he's like, the more you hate him, the more you actually like him.
Yes.
And so I try to look at it with that lens, and I'm like, and even last night, because I am a big Miz fan, I've always liked the Miz.
Sure.
He is awesome. I'm like, God, I freaking hate this guy. But then I'm like, well, that means I like him. So I really hate him a lot. So I must like it. I mean, like, man.
Well, again, he's that typical, I should say typical, that traditional kind of old school heel. I mean, he's this big, imposing guy who actually can move, which I really like that. And he's just got this air. I mean, he has that European aristocratic kind of this D-baggy thing.
Drago.
And on top of that, very much so. He totally would have been from Slytherin, as well as just given the fact that he's that size and can do, like, he has an incredible drop kick. I knew him back when he was Walter before he became Gunther. They like to name people. And I really like his run as the Intercontinental Champion, especially, remember the previous guy who held this title, whose record this beat, was the Honky Tonk Man. And Brad, I don't know if you ever watched the Honky Tonk Man wrestle.
Yeah. It wasn't that good. He was never that good. I mean, like,
the best thing the Honky Tonk, the best thing about the Honky Tonk Man,
rip off the sideburns and everything.
Yeah, the two best things about the Honky Tonk Man was Jimmy Hart as his manager, and did you know Honky Tonk is first cousins with Jerry the King Lawler?
What?
Yes,
really?
They are first cousins, and similar to Jimmy Swaggart and Jerry Lee Lewis, don't always see eye to eye. So Wayne Ferris, which Honky Tonk Man's real name, is first cousins with Jerry the King Lawler.
Interesting. I meant yes.
Did you like that? Did you like that, sir? All right. So
cool.
That leaves us two matches on the card, and I think these are the two matches that we both enjoy for different reasons. One is the Women's World Title match, Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark. Now, I'm gonna give you my real quick review of this. Similar to, and by the way, the Miz lost to Gunther, which I think everybody knew. I mean, I don't think we'd have been shocked if Gunther.
I wanted him to win, though.
People want him to win, but I don't think Gunther dropping the title. Here's my real quick. I'm going to pre-venge WrestleMania. This might be something we can do on a future show. I'm changing my mind now. My original thought, but what happened later tonight has made me switch this up. My original thought was that Gunther would hold the Intercontinental title till like the Royal Rumble, and he'd lose it to, let's say, Jey Uso. But then Gunther would turn around and probably win the Elimination Chamber match and would face off against Seth freaking Rollins. That's what I thought they'd do. Because they go, he's only lost. He's only been pinned one time since he came up to the main roster. He's a big guy. Him and Rollins, I think we have really good chemistry. I thought that's where they're going. Now I have a completely different theory later on.
But I
still don't see him dropping the title until either the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. And again, given what we kind of know now is happening, my guess is if he does drop the title, it's gonna be to my boy Yeet, Jey Uso. Because I think if he's gonna lose, it's gotta be at a big pay-per-view. War Games it was a kind of a pack night. I think you get him in at like a Rumble or WrestleMania, and you give him someone like Jey Uso. I think that could be the match that and if someone's gonna break that title reign, when someone does beat Roman Reigns, I think you need a bigger event like one of those two. All right, but back to the other title match. For this, the card only had 5 matches, 2 of which were title matches. Is the Women's World Title match, similar to what I just said about the Gunther match? It was Rhea Ripley defending against Zoe Stark. Yes, so no one, I think, with a pulse thought Zoe Stark would win this match, and she shouldn't have won this match. I think she did a good job of representing herself in the match, but the match was all about our girl, Rhea Ripley. And if the WWE, and if you're listening, and we know you are, Rhea should always wear chaps as part of her ring outfit.
Yes.
That was. I mean, Shawn Michaels. Who? Yes, that was
Yes,
that.
it's kind of like a Judgment Night.
Yes.
Mm.
Could you imagine her tattoo artist? He was paid to do that,
Yeah.
or she, or they.
You know, like after last night, I was like, man, I was getting very, very big Eric Draven. I mean, I was thinking, are we gonna get an Erica Draven?
Right. I mean, the makeup, and I mean, she just always. I mean, her everything from her hair, the tattoos, which are
Yeah.
permanent, the makeup, just how she comes out, the gear, and just how she wrestles, the facial expressions. She talks hella crap the entire match. I mean,
Hmm.
she probably, honestly, outside of Roman Reigns, is probably the best heel they have. And you can make the argument she's better because we see her every week. You could
Yeah.
definitely make an argument she's actually has greater impact because she's on the show. She's on Raw and a lot of times SmackDown, but
Mhm.
she's on Raw every single week. Roman's on every what 6 to 8 weeks, which again I'm
Yeah.
okay with him not being on that often, but week in week out she shows up, and I think she's doing things as a female that we've not seen, not only athletically in the ring, probably her and Charlotte,
Mhm.
but just think about it. The Judgment Day, again, they always say they don't have a leader, but
Yeah. She's a leader.
she's the most prominent member of a faction that she's the only female member of, and she's not a manager, she's not a valet, she's not Miss Elizabeth, she's not even China. She
No.
is their peer in every single way. And you know what? And it doesn't make them, which I think is great, it doesn't make the guys look weak by having her run the show,
Mhm.
right? It's not like, well, maybe Dom, because it's part of Dom's deal. But it doesn't make Finn or Damian Priest or JD McDonough look weak by having her have such a prominent role because she's just very unique in that. So we love us some Rhea Ripley.
I think she's the best part of Judgment Day, to be honest. I
Yeah,
mean, like I like the faction actually. I actually wouldn't mind seeing them do more. I
right.
mean, I mean, they could easily turn them into a good faction. I
Yeah, they
don't
can
think.
totally be baby
I
faces.
think.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that Judgment Day is going to go down as one of the better factions.
yeah,
Since Evolution
yeah,
or the Shield.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they're freaking pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the only one of them who's never been a babyface, I think, is JD McDonough, but Dom, and other
Yeah.
than the people that love the boo Dom, and I think Dom, for a lot of ways, little Dominic, back when Ray
Mhm.
and Eddie were fighting over who was his real daddy. I mean, I love me some Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
It takes talent to be that unlikable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Similar to what I
Um,
said about Gunther, it takes talent to get people that
yeah.
much to just want to slap you upside the face.
You're
So good
right.
job out of him.
You're right. You're right, man. I mean, and I've never really gotten into Damian Priest, but man, like
Yeah,
he's good.
he's really good. He's really
Damian
good.
Priest, I mean, again, he's been around for a while.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, and I think he was just sitting there. I don't know if he's wasting away for the longest time, but I mean, man, I
yeah,
like Damian Priest, but I like Rhea Ripley more. Rhea Ripley,
yeah.
that faction doesn't work without
Without
her.
Rhea.
As a matter of fact, I'd like to see it grow. I would like to see Judgment
Yeah.
Day grow a little more.
You could do some NWO type stuff here.
Easily.
You really could. And let's remember, this thing started off with Edge. It was supposed to be this supernatural demonic thing, which is why he asked to be removed from it. And they're really just like again, back to the NWO
Yeah.
or even the Shield. And I mean this is going to sound like an oxymoron. They're kind of a cool gang.
Yeah.
And that's really what they are. I mean, they come out with the colors. Like when they came out, which is going to go into the next thing with the men's war games, man. They came out with everyone except for Drew, which is good because he didn't join. They've got the bandana with the skulls. They wear some variation of purple and black. You've got Finn out there with the Nikes. You've got Dom with the tats and, trying to say he was locked up in the storyline. You got Damian Priest, who just has a lot of natural cool charisma about it, as does Rhea. You got JD, who's there, but by the way, we're going to jump to the end real quick. The RKO.
Dude, the RKA heard around the world.
Oh my dude, whatever they paid JD McDonough, he earned a bonus last night
he did.
that he did not get killed or seriously hurt, because that was, I don't care whatever precautions or how much what kind of an athlete you are, the way he took that and how that impact, and I watched it again in slow motion. He did not brace for impact that much. That had to kill. There's no way, for those that say wrestling's fake, if you get a chance to watch the RKO that JD McDonough took last night and all the way in which that happened, I dare anybody to put themselves in that situation and go, oh, it's fake, I'll do that again. So, yeah. So let's jump to the men's War Games match, sir. All right. So the men's War Games match, again, unlike the women's War Games match, it was 5 members instead of 4, 5 each team. So the men's team was Drew McIntyre plus the Judgment Day members of Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. The men's War Games team was Seth freaking Rollins, Jey Uso, Yeet, Sami Zayn, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and the return of 18 months and change with back surgery, Randy Orton. So we'll get through this really quickly. The match was back and forth. If you want to see it, it's on Peacock. But then it looked like Randy Orton wasn't going to show. Then all of a sudden, we all heard the voices in our heads.
Yes.
And he came out looking like a beast.
Holy cow, man.
I wish I took 18 months out of my life for back surgery, came out looking like that. Dude, my goodness.
I was saying that to Kaylee. I was just like, did he get even bigger?
He got bigger.
Did he got
bigger? I mean, I went through and looked at some of his photos pre the injury, the legit injury we had at back surgery. I mean, he's always been in great shape, but I mean, that happened a year and a half. I mean, there was also rehab he went through for his back, haven't had back surgery. But the fact, and he's obviously a genetic monster. I mean, he's just always just physically, the guy is just an incredible specimen of humanity. But to come back, I mean, he was on par physically with like Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, and he's significantly older than both those gentlemen, definitely. And the fact that he came back, looking like he could stomp a mud hole, thanks JR, in anybody. And you go, who the hell is this? And of course, all the fans are wanting to see it. They teased the arcade with him and Jay. They did those stereo vintage Orton DDTs. And of course, now this is where I'm talking about JD McDonough. JD McDonough is on the top of the War Games cage, and he is tossed by, I think it was Sammy and Jay. Yeah. And Orton catches him and drops him in the RKO, which basically means his chin and head hit the mat first or around the same time as the rest of his prone body. And damn. Yeah.
JD McDonough gets the best performance of the night.
Yes, yeah. And someone's going to be the
MVP that RKO.
For taking that RKO. And so then we get Cody, who pins Damian after taking him to the crossroads. And we get the 1, 2, 3, all 5 men in the ring. Hands raised, and remember, this match is in Chicago, so which is why that's what the S stands for. So we get to the end of the night. You and I have been texting. Well, would it happen? No. And I remember you said, "Nah, I don't think so." Yeah. And then we actually had the copyright, the show's going off the air, and then we heard the static, that guitar riff. The Cult of Personality by In Living Color, and you said yourself, the best in the world. Bradley, who did we see come out of the entranceway to the fans in Chicago?
That would be CM Punk, Brian.
Where the CM stands for Chicago Made.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I lost my shit.
Yes.
I wasn't talking in English.
Yes.
I was talking in gibberish.
Yes.
My kids were scared. Both my wife and I were like freaking the hell out. And then
great. He looks great.
He looks good. Man, yes, take it from here, dude, because even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh
yes.
gosh. I have speaking of scary girls. All right, Leia, what was your favorite part of War Games?
There was a very scary part in War Games, and that's when CM Punk showed up, and my dad and my mother went cuckoo crazy, and it scared the flippin' poopy butts out of me.
Not the poopy butts.
The flipping poopy butts, not just the poopy butts, but the flipping.
I thought it might have been the flirting poopy butts, and that's even worse.
Said the F word more than once. Said the B word
40 times.
Daddy.
Yes.
And said the SH word a few times, and so did Mommy.
Fair. I had very similar responses.
It was not how it was supposed to go. I don't even know who CM Punk is.
You will find out.
Well, I've heard of him, but I was expecting him to have box braids.
Do what?
Why?
To have box braids. To look like Kevin Owens, but with box braids.
Why would you look like Kevin Owens? He's CM Punk. If anything, Kevin Owens would look like him.
I didn't know what CM Punk looked
CM
like.
Punk is the best.
CM Punk sounded like somebody that was in his early 20s.
I mean, at one time he was.
Yes, as we all were once upon a time.
Yeah.
So, which is fair because Leia is how old's Leia, Brad?
11.
So, but when he left the WWE, she would have been like being born.
Right. She was like 1.
Yeah.
How am I 1?
Well, so when CM Punk left the WWE, you were like a year old.
So here's what this basically leads to. So number one, as I told you last night, I think the last text we had about it was AEW is F because what AEW has always been. So this is a couple things. So AEW has always kind of been able to poke at the WWE, lean on a couple things, given that they give the fans what the fans want in quotation marks. Well, the way they've done it is they really kind of, in an American company, push Cody Rhodes to main event status. Well, guess what? He's pushed the main event status, including headlining last year's WrestleMania. So they win there. Number 2 is they brought back CM Punk. And there was no thought that he would ever wrestle again, but ever wrestle in the WWE.
I mean, he said it would be a cold day in hell.
Yes.
Sorry, it's part of the thing. All right, Leia, tell Brian.
I have a question. Why does the name right there have a little thing right in there?
Why is the star in greatness? It just
that says greatness.
Yeah.
I thought that's a greenness without an extra E.
Okay, cool. All right, tell Brian we'll talk to you later, buddy. All right, go ahead, Leia. Tell Brian bye bye.
How about that, princess?
All right, we're gonna finish up. You scary girl. All right, you're gonna have to watch Conjuring before bed. Oh, that was loud.
Please don't. I'm so mortified.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what this basically means is a couple things that AEW had always been able to say they did to get the fans over to WWE. They can't say that anymore. And you're seeing the WWE really being led by Triple H instead of Vince, which is where you're seeing a lot more. We're seeing better match. Seeing people like Rhea Ripley push, seeing LA Knight push. LA Knight, yeah. Okay. And
Slim Jims, I'm gonna be going. Give me some Slim Jims.
Yes, sir. And I love the pack with Macho and all those things. But here's where I think this is really good, and this sets up a couple things. So, legitimately, Rollins and Punk had a few words when Punk left, again, over a decade ago. And if you've seen any of the backstage, so if you saw the video, after the show went off the air, Rollins is like out of the cage, screaming, yelling about Punk being back. Ladies and gentlemen, first off, that's a work. Okay, obviously they would have known. Especially my guess is anyone on a high level in the WWE knew Punk was coming out, and there's no way Seth Rollins, as the World Heavyweight Champion, even if he hated CM Punk's gut legitimately, and maybe he does, he would not do that in that situation unless that's meant to lead to something in the ring. So one of the things that we've talked about on this show and other people have talked about is the WWE has 2 world titles, which is silly. But you've got Roman Reigns and you've got Seth Rollins trying to make that the title that Rollins holds has some prevalence. We know Cody Rhodes should beat Roman Reigns for that title to finish the story. That's where this has been going. It's going to be a 2-year journey if it goes through. So my prediction, and I'm going to hush about this, is we possibly get where CM Punk wins this year's Royal Rumble and Punk challenges Seth Rollins. And then we get to the Elimination Chamber and Cody wins the Elimination Chamber. Well, no, I'm gonna take that back. If you do the Elimination Chamber, you fight your brand, and he and Roman's are on different brands. So I'm gonna say Cody repeats, wins the Rumble a second year, challenges Roman again, and then we're gonna have Rollins hold the title till WrestleMania. Punk wins the Elimination Chamber, or somehow gets a shot at Seth Rollins. But who I do feel bad for right now is one Damian Priest, and here's why. So Damian Priest is senior Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as we both like Damian Priest, and for all the things we just said about the Judgment Day, and again, this is me doing backseat booking for the WWE, if the goal is to have the best matches at WrestleMania, pardon me, CM Punk challenging Seth Rollins is a better match than CM Punk challenging Damian Priest.
Yeah. Well, in Damian Priest, they have to do Judgment Day. Judgment Day is too big. Judgment Day has to be in a match in WrestleMania against another faction.
Yeah, they'll do something like that. So maybe we'll get, who knows, maybe we'll get if Priest and Finn hold the tag team belts, maybe we get Jimmy and Solo versus Finn and Damian Priest for the tag titles.
Yeah, Bloodline versus Judgment Day. That sounds like a good idea.
Right. So you may get something like that. But here, CM Punk being back, best in the world. I love the fact he didn't talk. I love the fact he didn't challenge anyone. I love the fact he came out there. He pointed to his wife. He's a big comic book guy, which we both love.
Yep.
He loves the Fantastic Four. He loves the thing. His thing when he comes out is say it's clobbering time. He just had to start his line. So the LA Knight, the fans went into it. Then we'll put a bow on this. This is why I say AEW is in big trouble. There's lots of articles about how they're not selling out shows. They have some backstage issues. Well, if you think about who are the hottest people in the industry, you've got Roman Reigns, you've got Rhea Ripley, you got LA Knight, you got Cody Rhodes, and you've got CM Punk. All WWE talent.
Yeah.
So, and a ship that is not being ran by Vince McMahon. So a ship that's probably being ran much better by one Paul Levesque, aka Triple H. So
yeah,
and NXT being ran by Shawn Michaels. I think this is the best the WWE has had a chance to be and look really since the hot period of the Monday Night Wars. So this is really, really exciting and glad to see CM Punk back.
I concur, man, with everything that you said, man. 100%, dude. We're so excited. We might even have to do a couple extra episodes.
Yes.
All right. With that being said, dude, you are a big Batman fan.
I am, sir.
And so we were talking earlier in the week. So we wanted to start a new segment where we talk about some Batman. So Batman is pretty much the glue of the DC universe. I think that's fair to say, right?
Absolutely.
And so I was
maybe even the Gorilla Grodd glue.
That is,
you like that?
You're my human of the week. You just beat Derek Shepard becoming a serial killer in Thanksgiving. Spoiler alert! And JD McDonald taking a top of the cage.
RKO. My goodness. Yes.
You're my human of the week. Okay.
All right.
So Batman had to have used surveillance on everybody in the DC, all the superpowers, anybody that he would have thought was a threat. He was going to do a threat assessment.
Yep.
And so we start talking about like, what would it be like with of Batman's first meeting? How would he have gone about doing surveillance on like Green Lanterns or something? How did he find out about Green Lanterns and stuff like that?
Right.
So with that being said, Brian, who should we talk about this week? So who do we want to kind of talk about for a few minutes about how Batman met first? We're not going to do Superman because I mean that's too big.
Sure.
But so maybe not the A tier, Superman, Wonder Woman. Let's leave the Trinity out of it. So let's start with everybody outside of the Trinity. And if you don't know, the Trinity is Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman.
Yep.
What
yeah. So I'm not. Aquaman, he went fishing. No, okay.
Right?
So you're right. So we'll stay away from the Trinity, or some people call it the Olympus, because some people go, Superman, you've got Zeus. Wonder Woman, you've got, Hera, Athena, and Batman, you've got Hades.
Yeah.
But when you look at this, if you stayed away from the top three, I always wondered. I think it would be a very cool discussion between how Batman would meet up with the Barry Allen
There you go.
Flash.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk.
So, let's go nerd.
All right.
Deep.
Nerd deep. We can go nerd deep with Batman talk. Okay. So Batman is already a superhero. Batman is known. Batman is just something to make you scared. Like,
right. He's
Batman doesn't need to be anywhere. You need to be afraid that he's going to be somewhere.
Yes.
And I like that Barry Allen. He's very, very similar to Bruce. And there is that, because of the parents and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Central City, I think, is more Midwest. So,
it is.
Central City's honest. Central City. There is a Central City in Iowa too.
Right, there is.
And then Gotham is more like your New York, Chicago, Detroit.
Yep.
So to me, I would think that anytime that Batman hears of anything out of the ordinary, he goes to check it out, and he does everything discreetly, in the open, in the daylight, not as Batman, but as not even Bruce Wayne, just as somebody.
Yep.
And he might have even been there, witnessed something, and then he's going to deduce everything to the Flash, to Barry Allen. He's going to figure out who these people are. That way, when he does meet them, he can tell them everything about them.
So, sure, go ahead.
How do you think their first meeting went?
Well, see, this is what I think what you want to have. Similar to what you said, is because Batman, the power of Batman is his mythos. So you're right. He can't be everywhere at once, but so much of what keeps the underbelly of Gotham under control is the fear. Every time you hear a can kicked over, or a cat, or anything like that, every time it gets shadowy, that fear of Batman. One of the things that I like is oftentimes they talk about when the bat signals something. Oftentimes he does with Gary Oldman in Dark Knight. Is that all the time he doesn't come because he's somewhere else he needs to be, right? So because of that becomes like part of Batman's power, is the fear he instills. So then you look at the other side of the coin with the Flash. Here's someone who, while he can't be in two places at once, he can be almost everywhere at once. And to understand this, you got to understand one very important thing about Batman. While Batman's has utter faith in humanity, he generally doesn't like superpowered individuals. He doesn't. He always, and the best ways that they handle it in the comics and the movies and the TV shows, that they show that he is a begrudging member of the Justice League. He's been there basically to make sure that the Justice League doesn't get out of control. Two of my favorite storylines are Babel and Doom, both of which show how Batman uses surveillance, and how if he loses track of that surveillance, he has to become a threat or a risk to the Justice League. So back to how he would meet Barry Allen, or the Flash, as he would know him, is that number one, he would use those detective skills to really not confront the Flash, but to confront Barry Allen.
Yeah.
So he will confront Barry Allen in a very open place, and he'll probably, through his Batman abilities, probably create a scenario in which Barry Allen uses his super speed somewhat covertly, but gets Barry Allen to reveal who he is. He also would, because Batman's a detective and Barry Allen's a scientist, he would appeal to Barry Allen's logic side. And he would basically explain to Barry Allen how, unlike this world already has Superman and Wonder Woman, how he needs people who aren't gods, who aren't non-human, who aren't aliens like John Jones, like Kal-El. And that while he doesn't completely trust Barry, he trusts Barry more. He's going to trust someone from the stars. Also, Barry Allen works for the police. So Barry Allen is supposed to be on the side of law and order. So I think that was how he initially would appeal to him. But then he also, because Batman loves intimidation, and Barry can be intimidated, similar to Wally West, is he would go, it is better to have,
Flash, by the way.
Yes, but it will be by the way, I watched a quick episode of Big Bang Theory about an hour before we started, and it was an episode where they were debating Alan Scott Green Lantern versus Hal Jordan Green Lantern. And the running thing was, if you want to defeat either one, have a number 2 pencil because it's wood and yellow. Yep. So yeah, the perfect weapon against the Green Lantern. Okay. That's nerd deep for you.
But it is nerd deep, and it's been retconned, but yeah.
So, but where I would think this would go is that he would explain to Barry that it is much better to be on the side of Batman than to have Batman not on your side. So it's better to have Batman as an ally than as an enemy. So that's where he would start off with that.
Do you think that the Flash is one of the people that Batman trusts? And Batman doesn't trust anybody. He doesn't even trust Robin.
No.
I mean, that's his thing. But I mean, out of the superheroes,
the only person that he trusts is Alfred. That is the only person. That's
correct. Yeah. Do you think that Flash is one of those that he trusts more? I mean, Superman, he trusts to a point.
As far as he's gonna trust Superman, yeah.
Right. Yeah. What about where do you think Flash Barry Allen is on that scale?
I think he trusts the Flash in that he doesn't feel threatened by the Flash. And so I don't think he looks at the Flash as the same level of threat. Now, Flashpoint changes that. You see the impact of his powers. But I think at the beginning, I think Batman has a better understanding of Flash's potential than either Barry or Wally have when they inherit those mantles. So that's why I think he trust is probably not the best word. He is not as worried about the Flash and Flash's impact as he will, let's say, with Superman or Wonder Woman or even John Jones, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where he looks at the Flash as someone he can intimidate and manipulate. And I think on some level, both Barry Allen and later on Wally West really want to be on Batman's team. And so that's why I don't think he views them as nearly the threat as he does some of the others.
All right, I dig it. Let's go ahead and put a pin in that. And let's talk a little bit about some tats. You got a couple tats for me.
I got a couple tats for you, my friend. If you're ready.
I'm ready.
And these are our tats, our Thanksgiving tats. All right. So first off, this is just one I always like to just find out from people. If you could only eat one traditional Thanksgiving food, and it better not be pumpkin pie, my friend. If there was only one thing, a traditional Thanksgiving dish you could have every year, what would it be and why?
Macaroni and cheese.
My guy.
Macaroni and cheese, man.
My guy.
You know, I love me macaroni and cheese.
You love using mac and cheese.
I love me some macaroni and cheese.
I got you.
You know what? To me, macaroni and cheese is one of those things. It can be a side, but really it's not. The box says it feeds 4. I eat for 4.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and it's got to be a good homemade mac and cheese.
I feel you. All right.
I can't say that word. Swiss cheddar.
Yep. Perfect.
All right, what about you, buddy? What's your?
Oh, I'm gonna go the same because I make a good homemade mac and cheese. So mine's got the Big Elbow noodles, cream, sharp cheddar cheese, sour cream, Romano cheese, and then Velveeta. And then I bake it off, and now I'm hungry. Yeah, so I have to make you a hell of a dish, man. But yes, that's probably my thing. So, and I actually that recipe was one of the ones that my grandmother kind of played with, and so I would only get that mac and cheese on Sundays. So typically, and I had to go to church to get it. So my mom would make mac and cheese during the week. It would be the craft kind of in the box kind.
Yeah.
So if I wanted what I call real mac and cheese, that was you have to go to church,
Gotta
stay
give it to
awake.
God.
Yeah, you know, in the eyes of God, now you're gonna have to make. You're like, now you've earned it.
Right,
So
right.
that's
Yeah,
so
you
that's
got
like
you gotta go to confession.
yeah.
You,
So
you
then when
gotta
I
bring
made my
yourself
mac
back
and
down.
cheese, I'm like, you know what? I'm making this most sinful dish I possibly can.
That's
But yeah,
amazing.
so mac and cheese is that. All right. So got a couple more that are really quick. So next up, green bean casserole, sir. If you eat green bean casserole, do you eat the whole thing or just the crunchy onions on top?
So I do not like green bean casserole. So I would just eat the crunchy onions. As a
Yes.
matter of fact, I'm the guy that I will dip my hands in the box and grab them and eat them like chips.
Again, you are my brother from another mother, man. And then last one. What makes a better post-Thanksgiving sandwich? So, it's either because we eat around 2 in my household, but whether it's, later on that night or the next day, one of the benefits is making sandwiches from the leftover, like, protein, right? So, for you, what is the best post-Thanksgiving sandwich? Is it turkey? Is it ham? Or is it half and half?
Oh, I've never done a half and half. I would have to say ham. So
Okay.
turkey, it's weird because it's one of those things that's it dries up really.
It
It
does.
can dry up really fast, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and you could eat one piece of turkey and it'd be the most juicy, moist, pieces ever, and then you get another
Give it
piece,
5 minutes
and
and
you're
then
like,
you're in trouble.
but ham, I mean, like ham, dude. You can a ham and cheese sandwich, man. You don't need to heat
Yes.
that up, or you
Yeah.
could take a piece of a slice of cheese on some bread, throw a little bit of ham on there, throw in the microwave for 15 seconds,
Facts.
and dude, little
Facts.
ketchup or ranch or anything,
Facts.
dude.
Facts.
That is some good
Facts.
stuff.
I eat just before the show, and now you got me on the leftover sandwich. All right,
Yeah.
sir. All right. So those are my tats. But my friend, I believe you said you had a couple questions for me.
I do. We are gonna do something different this week. I want to do.
So it's almost like when you take the box from under the bed, and you go, I went shopping this weekend. Because, sometimes everything is on sale on Black Friday.
Yeah.
And you try something a little different. Hit me, sir.
That is true. So we are going to do 20 questions on superheroes. Are you ready?
Probably not, but let's give it a shot, sir.
All right, so I have 4 different categories, so 5 questions in each category. The first category is what a ripoff. Marvel versus DC. Who came first? All right. Thanos or Darkseid?
Meaning in like
who was
actual
created first?
Created first. Thanos or Darkseid? I'm going Thanos.
Be Darkseid. Thanos was in 1973. Darkseid was in 1970.
Okay.
All right. The Atom or Ant-Man?
Ant-Man.
The Atom.
Atom.
Was 1940.
Yeah.
Ant-Man was 1962.
As soon as I said it.
All right. Doom Patrol or X-Men?
Oh God. My gut said I know X-Men was in the 60s. I feel like Doom Patrol was in the 70s. So I'm going X-Men.
Doom Patrol.
Doom
Patrol was created in June of 1963, and X-Men was September of 1963.
Wow.
Yes. All right. You were 3.
I'm 0 for 3. Oh my goodness. All right.
All right. Let's see. There's still a little bit here. All right. Ready? Ultron or Brainiac? Ultron.
I'm gonna keep going with my gut. So I'm going Brainiac because Superman is much older than Ant-Man.
You're right. Okay. All right. So Brainiac was 1958 and Ultron was 1968.
Well, Ultron also Tony Stark. Yeah. All right.
Yep. Okay, so last one
Okay.
in this round. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Vision or Red Tornado? The Vision or the Red Tornado?
Vision or Red Tornado.
Vision, 1968 to Red Tornado was 1979. So
Not even close.
One
out of 4. I mean, 1 out of 5. I'm 1 out of 5.
Okay, next round. This is just questions
is
about Marvel
good.
comics.
Okay, this is good. I'm digging this. All right.
All right. What year was Marvel's Captain Marvel created?
Are you playing all the historian games? These are not good at these. What year was Marvel's Captain Marvel?
Marvel's Captain Marvel.
I'm going to go 64.
Dude, you were really close. 1967.
Darn.
You were so close. You were so close on that one. Okay. Number 2. Yep. Name the actual names of the 3 Marvels in the Marvels movie.
Meaning like their civilian names?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So Captain Marvel, as she's known in the movie, is Carol Danvers or Veers. Captain Rambeau is Captain Monica Rambeau, and then Kamala Khan is Miss Marvel.
Yes, good job. All right. What does Jarvis stand for? What does Jarvis stand for?
Not fair. Not fair. No, because Jarvis is an AI in the books. Not fair. Not a clue. I don't even know where to start with Jarvis.
Just a really very intelligent system.
Fair.
Yep.
Fair play.
All right.
Do we know what Friday stands for?
Oh gosh, I did. I read it. Okay, go ahead and tell me.
I don't know. I just curious. I'll send you. Okay.
Gotcha. All right. What comic book did Spider-Man first appear in?
God bless. I was not prepared. I was not ready for a quiz. I should have studied. I spent too much time last few days eating and drinking. Oh shoot!
Questions get easier the more you drink.
Yeah, they really do. All right, sir. I'm my nerd fandom. I apologize, my brothers and sisters.
All right,
please.
Amazing Fantasy number 15.
Okay.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
All right, would be, who are the original 5 members of the X-Men?
Oh, great.
Not including Professor Xavier.
Okay, I know this one. So we've got Scott Summers, a.k.a. Cyclops. We've got Jean Grey, who went by Marvel Girl before she just goes by Jean Grey. We've got Hank McCoy, who is the Beast. We've got Warren Worthington III, Angel. And then we've got Robert Drake, who is Iceman.
All right, you got 2 right in that round. All right. Now this is round 3. All right.
Yes.
So round 3.
I feel like they edited this on Jeopardy.
I know, right?
Yeah. Like your opponent has like $5,000. You got like 30 points. Yeah. Okay.
So round 3 is aliases. I'll say the name. You have to tell me the superhero alias.
Okay.
All right. Victor Creed.
Oh, Sabretooth.
Okay. John Henry Irons.
Steel.
Jean Grey.
Marvel Girl. Or Phoenix. Or Dark Phoenix. Or the Black Queen. A lot of names, yeah.
Yep. Dinah Lance.
Hang on. Black Canary.
Yes.
I almost said Mockingbird. I knew that wasn't right. Okay.
James Howlett.
Our boy Logan, a.k.a. Wolverine.
All right. We got all 5 of those. Yes. All right. Now, this one here is straight up comic book questions.
All right.
Okay. What is the green liquid that can bring you back to life in the DC Comics world?
Oh, the Lazarus Pit.
Okay. This one, you better get. I'm going to be very, very disappointed if you don't get this one.
Oh, don't say that. All right.
What sector is Earth in the Green Lanterns and that the Green Lanterns protect in DC Comics?
This was the first revenge question you asked me.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And a
13.
riddle.
Oh, what is it?
28-14.
28-14.
Oh.
How does that not stick in my brain?
That's okay.
We've been so much into Marvel. My head went to 616.
That's
okay.
okay.
No, that's not right. 28-14. Okay. Fair play.
All right. What is considered Marvel's first family?
Marvel's first family would be the Fantastic Four.
Yes. Who is the superhero twin brother of the Scarlet Witch?
Quicksilver.
All right. Who was the first Robin?
Tim Grayson. I mean, Dick Grayson. Jesus, Dick Grayson.
I was like, are you trying to mix it? Are you going to do multiple?
Yeah,
Robins
I was doing the Amalgam comics. Yeah. Dick,
so you got 4. So you got
Richard
9.
Dick Grayson. Yes.
All right. You had 12 out of 20. Good job, man. Some of those are really hard.
20, which is 6, so I got a 60%. Yeah.
You got 60% on Brad's superhero quiz, pop quiz, buddy.
I'm telling you right now, we're doing a 20 quiz for you next week. I'm excited now.
Nice.
All right. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
man. Awesome.
Yes.
All right.
That
Who's your human of the week?
That was great. So my human of the week is, since it is Thanksgiving, and this is one of the things that always kind of irks me, because if you ever look at because when I grew up, the big thing in Thanksgiving was Charlie Brown and Thanksgiving, all this sort of stuff. And if you ever watch the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special, you've got Linus, you've got Charlie Brown, you've got Snoopy, you got Peppermint Patty, all those people, and then you've got my boy. There's one character who's on the other side of the table from everyone else, and doesn't really even give him any food, and that is my boy Franklin.
Oh,
no, Franklin.
Huh, okay.
So, given that, I'm going to give Franklin some love, but before I do that and let you give your better than us, I know it's me, but here's the deal. I actually looked this up. Franklin was actually created 2 days after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr.
Really?
A letter was sent to Charles Schultz 2 days after the assassination, going that because of the popularity of the Peanuts gang, there needed to be a black character added to Peanuts in the lieu of Dr. King's assassination. And later that month, and actually Charles Schultz actually wound up meeting with a lady by the name of Glickman, who wrote in a letter to make sure that he had never created a African American character before, make sure he was not making a caricature. Like, hey, I want to make this an authentic character. However, and this is the other piece of this, once he started showing in the Peanuts comic strips, several papers in the South stopped carrying Peanuts for a little bit because it showed Franklin going to school with the rest of the Peanuts gang. And they said, if you're going to have him go into school, we don't mind if you have a black character. I'm reading, there's some quotes here, but if you have him go into school with the rest of the Peanuts, we won't carry your comic. So he actually made sure then, and for several comics, there always was a pain of him at school with the rest of the kids. And given how popular it was, while some papers dropped it, the readership goes, we want Charlie Brown back. And that actually showed how pushed against a lot of the segregation that was still going on in the country. So because of that, I got to give honestly Charles Schultz, but also I want to make sure that I give proper to Harriet Glickman, who was the person that wrote to Charles Schultz right after the assassination of Dr. King. And between the two of them, they created our boy Franklin, the Peanuts character, and that is our Better Than Us Human of the Week.
That is amazing. I love stories like that, dude. Man, well done. Cool. Well, you are, sir, are mine You beat out Patrick Dempsey, becoming, Derek Shepard, the serial killer. Spoiler alert for Thanksgiving.
Are you saying that you can't buy him love?
No.
Is he then McStabby?
McStabby. I like that. I'm. You know what? Next time, if they're watching Grays when I go upstairs,
call him McStabby.
He is now gonna be McStabby.
Well, remember he was in the Scream sequel, and they made it like he was going to be the villain, and he wound up not being. So there is precedence for this. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Another new thing I wanted to go over with you.
Is there
today? So before we close shop, I want to talk a little bit about our next week's episode.
Okay.
So I think, so next week we just kind of briefly talked about it. We are going to pitch our own Hallmark movies. So be ready for this.
Sweet, sappy. It'll be the boy finds the girl who loves the boy, but not the girl. And it'll snow, but no one will ever get wet. It'll be wonderful.
Yes, we will throw in as many tropes as we can. We may do this together, or we may just see what each of us comes up with and maybe try to put them together. Who knows how we're going to do it, but something for you to look forward to, where we will pitch a Hallmark movie.
And I get the feeling we will ruin Hallmark for everyone that has ever loved Hallmark. And there we go.
And we will definitely laugh about it.
Absolutely, my friend.
All right. You can tweet at us tweet at me. Well, actually, before I get to that, where can we find you, sir?
Well, sir, as always, you can find me on Brian Stephen Dennis at the Book of Faces. Feel free to give me a like, give me a follow. I was trying to keep it funny and occasionally weird.
Absolutely. You can tweet at me at Fandemic3, message me on Facebook at The Fandemic, also active on TikTok, hear my reviews, and so much more. If you want to support the show, there are several ways to do so. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thefandemic. Find us on Patreon at patreon.com/PVOTN. Fandemic. Become an episode assistant, an episode producer, a pre-venge producer like Stacy, or yes, you can be part of the Council of Nerds, starting at $5 a month. You can go to PayPal or Venmo at Bradley Butin. I won't say no to free money, or just share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review and let me know where you're listening to it. If you're listening to it on audio, if you prefer the live stuff more, or if you want to catch it again, if you want me to put a little bit more out there, I will definitely do so. So, Brian.
Yes, sir.
I think we've hit max levels of awesome for the week. Let's end the week like we do on a positive note. What are your words of wisdom?
Thank you, our listening audience, for joining us for the best part of our week. Hopefully, the best part of yours. We have buried the needle on awesomeness. So before we get back to the day-to-days that will start on our week, please remember that no retreat, no surrender, and Goonies. Never say die.
Friendship is like peeing on yourself. Everyone can see it, but only you get the warm feeling that it brings. If cauliflower can become pizza, you, my friends, can do anything. If you think about it, every time you feel stupid, you just got a little smarter. And remember, squirrels' cheeks are also their nut sacks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.